evening and welcome to ClausenWorld. In today's episode, we're going to be planting some wildflower hummingbird seeds. I'm going to be replanting some rhubarb seeds that I am having the darndest time getting to start off. And I might be harvesting some potatoes. So join me in the garden. Family, I ran out of light yesterday and I had every intention of trimming back these chives so that I could dehydrate them, but that didn't happen. So as I let the dog out this morning, I am out here trimming back these chives, and I'm going to take them in the house and dehydrate them. It is 45 degrees out here this morning. It's crazy. It is so crazy. I am congested like nobody's business, but that is my norm, unfortunately. And so I'm just trying to hurry this up and get on in this house. And I will show you my results when I am finished. And I really hope that this is beneficial to the chives. If you can see that they are really very long. I mean, they are nice. Compared to what they were when I first bought these things, I'm very impressed with this year's growth. I transplanted them from a pot, the pot that you all have seen me cut my onion scapes out of. That's where these used to be, in that pot. Look at that, look at that. Isn't that nice? And I took them out of there because I needed that pot for the onions. And so this was the next best thing, since I was trying something new with container gardening. And so now I'm out here like a crazy person in my pajamas, my loungewear. Excuse me, I can't breathe, and I'm out here clipping some chives early in the AM while my dog is inside wondering why have I not put food in her bowl, and I'm out here grabbing these here things. Now I'm going through my chives because I see I have a ladybug, so I'm just going to leave him right on down here because I don't want to take him in the house. And I'm going to leave this flower in the pot. Ooh, that wind. Oh my goodness. Wind just hit me on my neck. I don't have my jacket on. Ooh. Why is it 45 degrees? You know, it was 100 degrees earlier this week, and now we're at 45 degrees. This is crazy. Okay, I think I've done it, and I'm going to show you in just a second everything that I've harvested off of that chive plant. Goodness gracious, this is so nice. I still have some stragglers, but I'm not going to worry about these stragglers because it's 45 degrees and I don't have on a jacket, and y'all already heard me sniffling. This is crazy. Gardeners, right? Okay, there's another one. This is my harvest, and I'm just going through it, making sure I'm not taking any ladybugs in the house, or something that looks like a ladybug, because I don't have my reading glasses on. So look at that. Isn't that lovely? Look at all those lovely greens. Alright, I'll see you guys later on this evening when I do my next video. Thank you for joining garden, I'm going to be replanting some rhubarb seeds. This is some rhubarb that I started from seed. And to me, it doesn't look like it's strong. The leaves are healthy, they are growing. However, it doesn't look like it's the best possible specimen. And I say that because here is another one. I've had to restart this poor thing 3 times. I moved it from the indoor greenhouse to outside. I thought the inside wasn't good for it, and I don't know if it is the weather that is doing it in, because it's been hot and then it got really cold last night. It was 45 degrees this morning, so I just don't know what to think about this rhubarb. So this is the rhubarb that I purchased from, as you can tell, Baker Creek, and I do believe that this is actually going to survive, but I'm just not sure about it. So what I've done is, the instruction is that you're supposed to soak your seed for at least 2 hours. Now I've soaked my seed for roughly, let's see, what time is it? About 4, almost 5 hours. I was putting around in the house and I thought, you know what, today is the day I think I might drop some of those rhubarb seeds. So I'm just going to take my trowel and I'm going to make just a little bit of a divot here. And I have my seeds right here. I know you all can't probably see them, but they're in this little cup. So I'm going to take 2 of these seeds and I'm going to place 2 of them in the soil, like so. Uh-oh, that one stuck on my finger. Get back in there, you. See, you don't even want to get planted. What's that all about? All right, so now I'm just going to cover this up with the soil. And I'm going to keep the soil moist and see what happens. I'm going to do the same exact thing with this pot right here. Now I am not going to take this out, just in case that tiny little crown down there is alive. So I'm going to do the same thing in this pot, because this has happened before. I thought the plant had died, it looked really bad, and the result is this plant behind this one. So I am just going to leave it alone, but I am going to repot some seeds or drop some seeds, because I really would love to have a rhubarb crumble. Now, just in case you're not aware, rhubarb is not a fruit, and a lot of people think rhubarb is a fruit, but rhubarb is a vegetable, but it's utilized like a fruit. So I'm just going to tamp that down with my trowel, make sure that it has contact. This soil is very moist, and these seeds are moist, so I don't really need to add any water, but I'm just going to put a tiny bit of water on that spot, and I'm going to put this rhubarb back on top of this moist soil, just like so. I'm going to pour the rest on top of those seeds. And that is how I plant rhubarb. So let's see if I can get a really big rhubarb out of this, because I would really love to have rhubarb in my garden. This is the first time that I'm trying to grow rhubarb. I've seen it before in gardens in Europe, and I just thought it would be a really good addition. So let's move on to some wildflower seeds for the hummingbirds, because I've seen the hummingbirds a couple of times in the garden, and I didn't know hummingbirds were here, so I'm excited to bring them in the garden. So let's drop some seeds for them, shall we? Now, there really isn't much to this. This is a spring flower pot that I have, and as you can see, the giant pansies are struggling with the summer heat. And it looks like I have some clover coming up right there, if you guys can see that. So I am just trying to make sure that this pot stays full and vibrant. I folded these over the other night when I was watering it to try to keep some of the moisture in the soil. I thought they would perk up, but they did not. But they are perkier than they were a couple of days ago. But I know that this is coming to an end. So they do have some new flower heads coming on. But to me, this just looks like it's really struggling. It's having some difficulties. So with that being said, I'm going to put some hummingbird flower seed in this pot, so that when these pansies do finally just completely die off, I will have a beautiful spring arrangement that the hummingbirds will like. Now this is the hummingbird mix that I found. I don't know if I found this at Walmart or some other seed store, but I'm going to put a few of those in this pot. So open them up. Now these were 20 cents, and I know there aren't very many seeds in here. Usually when you buy a packet for this amount, you don't get very many seeds, but I have enough to put in at least 2 pots. So I'm going to put some in my hand, and that looks like it's roughly almost half. And some of these seeds are really, really tiny, so I am not going to cover them up with soil. I'm just going to water them in. So I'm going to get as close as I can to the soil, and I am going to just sprinkle them in just like so. Can you guys, is my hand in the way? Can you guys see that? Just trying to sprinkle them in just like so. And I'm also going to go on this side and try to sprinkle some in on this side, but only if I can see some soil. If I don't see any soil, I'm not going to sprinkle it in, because I want to have this have contact with the soil. And I'm not seeing a lot of soil over there. It's pretty dense. So I'm just going to put some more in here like that and water it in. These are some beautiful pansies. Absolutely beautiful. They gave a really lovely show. And these are also pansies that I grew from seed, and I got these seeds from Baker Creek. So I'm just going to sit that up like that. And I don't know where this pretty baby came from. Like I said, I generally put a number of different things in a pot, and so I'm always surprised when stuff pops up, and that's how I like it. Okay, now I have another location that pot is struggling a bit, and I'm going to drop the rest of these seeds in that pot so that I have more than one pot that has some wildflower hummingbird seeds in it. So let's go over there, shall we? This is the frog planter that is on top of my vermicompost bin. Now, I don't know if you guys can see, I'm going to pan up for just a second. These are bachelor buttons. They are purple, and there are some new flower heads on this bachelor button because I've continued to deadhead them. So I don't know how much longer they are going to last. So I am going to put some of those hummingbird seeds in this planter. Now I did freshen up this soil a little bit with a little bit of black cow and some coconut coir, only because this planter doesn't like to stay as moist as I would like for it to. So I'm just taking this rest of these seeds out of this packet, putting them in my hand, and if you can see that, don't know if you can see that, they're not very big seeds, so I am just going to sprinkle these seeds in this pot, just like so, in the hopes that we get some hummingbird flowers, just like that. And that is how I sprinkle my hummingbird seeds. So I'm going to water those in, because I'm not going to cover them with soil because those seeds were relatively small. So I'm going to water those in. And I'm going to take a look and see if we can harvest those potatoes. Now, for my subscribers who watch my channel, you already know that I do my gardening towards the evening time because it's generally really hot here. Today was unseasonably cool, but that's okay. So it's, let's see, what time is it? It is after 8 o'clock, and I know the sun will be gone here soon. So let's go see if we have any potatoes to harvest.
is the first potato reveal. Now, I am feeling really apprehensive about this potato reveal. This is the potato that it's an early potato, and it's not suffering from disease because I checked. It's gotten water. I've watered it by hand. I've put the sprinkler on it, but it's just straggling. And I think that if you've grown potatoes before, and this is only my second time, maybe third, no, this is my third real try of growing potatoes. This is kind of sort of how they look when it's time to harvest them. They flop over. I do have a couple that are still standing up, and I feel like, and this is why I've not wanted to harvest these, because I feel like these aren't really ready. Like they could stand another couple of weeks, but the ones that are flopping over, I feel like it's that time. So I'm going to sacrifice these right here so that I can get the rest of them out. What I can tell you is I've noticed the soil has risen in this bag, because this soil wasn't as high as it is now. I hope you guys can see that. The soil was not this high. So I'm going to take these tops off. I'm going to try to take these tops off. And I'm going to dump this soil out. And I think I may have to cut these tops because they, oh no, wait. We have movement. Let's see what's happening here. Now, before I take these potatoes out, I know there are some in here. I don't know how many are in here, but these are not going to be really big, massive potatoes. What I did was I ordered European potatoes. I have potatoes, you guys. I have potatoes. I can see potatoes. Let me see if I can turn them around. Let me see. Can you guys see my potatoes? Look at that. Let me move up closer. I'm trying not to lose soil. I don't like losing soil, but take a look at that. Now, like I said, they were not going to be large potatoes because I didn't plant potatoes that were supposed to be the big dinner-sized potatoes. I planted early potatoes, and generally your early potatoes are much smaller. So let me shake this soil off of this root. Hope you guys can see that. Now there's some really tiny potatoes on here. And if you were to leave any of these little bitty potatoes in the ground, they would grow back the next season and you would have really big potatoes. So what I'm going to do is I am going to save some of these tiny potatoes, and I am going to do a potato experiment. But for right now, I know y'all are biting at the bit, so I'm going to place these little bitty potatoes right here nearest me, and I'm going to pick out a few that I see on the top of the soil. And I do apologize that you guys can't see the soil, but I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them in this little bucket over here. And if I see any more, I'll put them in the bucket. And I'm going to show you this potato reveal. This is not going to be one of those, you look and see and you can't really see it. No, I'm going to show you. I'm just trying to make sure that I am saving my soil and I'm not leaving any tiny potatoes behind, because I am going to plant in this bucket or this bag. I'm going to revitalize this soil, and I am going to plant peanuts. Texas peanuts. Now I can see already that this might be a problem because I've got like tiny little potatoes hiding in this soil. So I will have to sieve this soil, but I know you guys are biting at the bit like, please, ClausenWorld, can you get out of that dirt and show us the rest of the bag? So yes, I will do that. I'm just trying to be thorough. All right, let me pull the rest of these. Let's see. And again, I don't know how many potatoes in here. I don't know anything. I just know that it was falling over. Look at that. Can you guys see that? You see those potatoes? Look at, can you see those potatoes? Let me show you the potatoes. And I have red potatoes and I have white potatoes. So in this bag, I must have placed that one lone red potato that I had left from a Walmart bag of potatoes that I bought to grow potatoes. And I had one little potato survive. So I just put that potato in here along with, and I don't know exactly which ones these are because when I got them, look at that, there's my seed potato. That seed potato grew. I did not have a huge seed potato. Wow, look at that. And this seed potato has, looks like it was growing some more. So I'm going to do an experiment and I'm going to repot that potato and see if I can get some more potatoes off of this. I'm going to put him right there. Hopefully he doesn't roll away. But I bought potatoes online. I bought some German potatoes and some English potatoes. I bought some Charlotte, some Nicola, and a German butterball. And like I said, that red potato was a bag of mixed potatoes that I bought from Walmart that really didn't do anything for me last year. I had a very, very, very small, insignificant harvest. So I don't know if it was my soil or the conditions or what, but it was pretty sad. So I'm going to just dump this bag and see what's in here. I kind of feel like there isn't going to be a whole lot more potatoes in here because last year's harvest was so sad that I only got enough for one meal and it was pretty depressing. But I'm going to go through this dirt. Let's move over so you guys can see. And that looks like a seed potato. That's all dead and dried up and gone. I'm going to take this root ball out. It's got some tiny potatoes on it. Now I'm going to shovel this soil and these roots back into this bag, and hopefully I am not putting any baby potatoes like I just did. Y'all see that little red potato? Right there. Uh-oh, he fell on the ground. I'll get him later. Oh, see, I'm already messing up. That's a seed potato. So that's got to go there. Let's see if there's anything else in this bag that doesn't need to be in here. Because like I said, I'm going to revitalize the soil and I am going to plant peanuts. So I'm going to go through this soil and see how many potatoes are in here. Like so. So let me go through this soil because I'm not going to have you sit here and watch me pick through all of this soil. I'm going to go through this soil off camera and then I'm going to come back and show you what I found in this soil. And then I'm going to weigh the potatoes to see how much potatoes I got out of this bag, because I was really hoping for a nice amount of potatoes. So let me go through this and then I'll be right back. Okay everybody, I know you have been patiently waiting. So I brought my scale outside from in the house and I found a little bowl. I zeroed it out and I placed my potatoes in the bowl. Now I don't have a lot of potatoes, but I do have enough of potatoes. And as you know, I still have at least 5 more bags. I've got dirt everywhere, y'all. So, drum roll, please. I'm gonna move it in so that you guys can see the weight on the scale. You guys see the weight on the scale? Now that's pretty darn impressive for one bag of potatoes. Let me show you the potatoes again. Now I have not gone and taken the tiny little potatoes off of the plant, but I will do that. But that's a significant amount of potatoes. I'll show you again. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that something? Amazing. Amazing. So I am going to have potatoes for dinner maybe tomorrow. All right, I am losing light. As you can see, the porch light, I had to turn it on. This is the bag that I took the potatoes out of. I have already enriched the soil with some blood and bone meal, with some plant tone, and I meant to put some black cow in here. Hold that thought. Let me get some black cow. We cannot have this without black cow. Real life backyard gardening, folks. And sometimes you have to step off and step away to get your props. So the bag, like I just said, has amendments in it. And I have gone to get some black cow. Like I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, my black cow seemed rather moist. So it comes out of the bag very clumpy. It doesn't seem as moist today, but it's still very solid and very clumped together. So I actually have to kind of rub it between my hands and break it up, because it's too solid in order to put it in anything. So I've just taken it in my little turquoise tub down here and I'm breaking it up. All right, now I'm going to place some in the center of this bag. I have filled this bag up to the center, and I'm going to place this black cow in this bag along with some more soil, the soil that I took out of this bag. Now the reason why I'm putting the black cow in the middle is because when the roots go down, the roots are going to hit that black cow and it's going to feed. So I'm going to fill this bag almost all the way up. Let me just pour it in. There we go. Now I've never grown peanuts before. This will be my first time trying to grow peanuts. So I want to give it a good start. Now, many people don't know or realize or never heard of that a peanut is actually a bean. And so I'm going to put some bean and pea booster just on this top soil. And I'm going to work that in. I only have a tiny little bit in the corner. And I'm just going to spread that on the top of this soil. Just like so. Just like so. There we go. And because it is a bean, I am putting this bean booster to give it a fighting chance. Now I played around with this during the winter time, and it actually germinated and grew in the house for me, but I started it too early and it died. So I'm just fluffing this up in the soil. Now I am attempting to grow, and I'll show you what it is. This right here, and I know the light is on, so it may be a little bit difficult for you to see, but this is a Tennessee red peanut, and I got this from Baker Creek. Now it doesn't say anything about soaking your bean, but I decided to take it out of the shell because it comes shelled. It's raw and it's in the shell, not shelled, but it's in a shell. It's raw and it's in the shell. So I took it out of the shell and I soaked it in water, and I left it in here for a couple of days because I wanted that bean to germinate. Now I'm actually going to take this out. I'm going to pour this water on top of this soil because I want to show you this germinated bean. And I did this on purpose because the weather has been generally warm, anywhere in the excess between 70 up to 100, except for today. Today was really weird. It was 45 degrees this morning and it got up to the 70s, I want to say. And so these grow in warm weather. Now, can you all see that germinated bean right there? You see the roots coming out? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely magnificent. And all but one have actually germinated. This is the only one that hasn't broken through. So I'm going to plant all of these and see what I get. Excuse me, you know I have allergies, y'all. So my voice begins to give out. It's because of my allergies. That's all. I'm just gonna plant these, just place them on top of the soil like that. Even the one that didn't germinate. Just like that. Just like that. Now I'm gonna take the rest of this soil, well, maybe not quite the rest of it, but I'm gonna take some of this soil and I'm gonna sprinkle it on top of these beans. Just like that. And I'm gonna cover these beans up. And I'm gonna give it about maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches of soil. Let's just say 2, just to say I did something. Because if you've watched my channel, I don't usually follow directions. I just kind of wing it and see what happens. I want to see what happens. Sometimes I follow directions. Sometimes I read it and, but sometimes it's like, oh, no, let's just see how this is going to go. So, all right. Tennessee red peanuts. Yes. Now, I don't know a whole lot about Tennessee red peanuts, so I am going to put some information for you all in the description box. That way you and I can learn together. Now, I'm going to water this in. I'm going to put this back over where I took this from the potato patch. And I'm going to go in the house because it is almost 9 o'clock. It is almost 8:50. And the sun has already gone away. The birds are singing a little bit less than they do in the morning. And the poor lonely dogs have stopped barking because their owner has told them to shut up with a few very choice words after that. But yeah, so I want to say thank you all for joining me in my gardening journey. I hope you enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying showing you. These are the chives that I cut this morning. Here's my potato harvest all cleaned up and looking real pretty for you guys.